So shift the slides directly to triaging. There is no need to introduction.
Sir, you can just say next slide. I'll just change.
Yeah. Next.
So this is basically what they did in US, isn't it? Now, so far, what they have done in the New York. What is this experience about?
Well, this is actually Washington DC. So the total number of cases are very high, and their main focus was to do more testing. So that is why you see the total number of cases are very high, because they have tested a lot of patients, patient relatives, and healthcare workers, including Purnima. She has been tested twice during this period. So they are very exhaustive on testing. So although the death rates are quite high, maybe around maybe more than 1 lakh, and if you see the complete world, it is everywhere it is quite high. Next. I think mostly my point of asking her was, can we learn something from them which can be applied to us so that we get over it early? That was the question. Next. So mostly her advice was, but because of the lockdown, India has a good slow process of getting the cases, and the death rates are quite low in spite of a large population. And if you see the graphs, the US graph is quite bad. But the main target they were having is that, as per the WHO guideline, they were going after testing everybody, the patient, attendant, as their plan is that they put the outside the hospital, they put a tents, and in the tents the triaging happens, not inside the hospital. So when the patient relative comes, there is a complete triaging at the entry, and with the patients and the relatives. If there is any flu symptom, he is not allowed inside. And if for others, they do the testing, only negative people are allowed inside the hospital. And the healthcare workers are constantly are doing routine work, but constantly they are advocating what is called as video consult. They are avoiding the point of contact with the patient, with the doctor, to the minimum. So let us say they have around 10 consults per today. So they will be doing around 7 or 8 video consults. Only 1 or 2 they will call the patient to the room. And video consults means the patient comes sometimes to the hospital, but the patient sits in a lounge, and the doctor from his room, he talks over the video consult with the patient. And if there is any physical examination needed, then only the doctor calls the patient. Otherwise, all the patients, even though coming to the hospital, are seen by video consults. So only when the patient needs a examination, then only they do the then only they call the patient to the room. So that is a very good concept, because most of the CT scans, whatever you order, everything is there in the report, and sometimes the decision can be based on the reports. And another question I had asked, do they recommend the home care chemotherapy? Because in Singapore, a lot of people have started home care chemotherapy. The nursing person from the hospital goes to the house of the cancer patient, and in the house they give the chemotherapy. But in US they are not following. They are doing it in hospital only with proper PPE. They are having a very strict protocol for PPE, N95 mask, and everything. So they are quite well with proper precaution. They are doing their routine work. They haven't stopped. But because of the fear and some partial lockdown, there is a 50% decrease in the workload, what she told. Next. So next. Next. So as per the CDC, the infection control, they have got a recommendation, specific recommendation, that assessment and triage of the patient. If they have respiratory symptom, they are sent to the respiratory clinic. Otherwise, the patient is being done the on OPD basis. There is no COVID testing. Only for the indoor admissions, they are doing completely RT-PCR COVID testing. And the relative, one of the relative is also COVID tested to see if he is negative. Then only is allowed to stay with the patient inside the hospital. So this is how they manage. And maybe that universal precaution is the only way to get over, because 30% of the patient, even if the RT-PCR is done, sometimes it is negative, and still the patient can harbor the asymptomatic carriers. So universal PPE is the only way. And as you know, there are three grades of PPE: PPE 1, 2, 3. Mostly in the OPD area, 1 is used. In the ICU, PPE 2 is used. PPE 3 is used in the COVID patient when any surgical procedure or aerosol generating procedure is done. So that is the way they are managing. And although the healthcare had come to a halt, but they have started recuperating. Next. I think these are common symptoms that you try to elicit in all the patients in the triaging room. Next. Next. So although this outbreak throughout the world is stressful, but we have to deal with the healthcare emergencies, and the normal healthcare facility has to be given. So as a part of the process, the only thing difference what we find between their and our system is that healthcare workers are less tested, but they are doing the routine work, and every 15 days the healthcare worker is tested, and the person is asked to stay. When the test is done, the test sample is sent, and the person is asked to stay inside the hospital for 1 day. Next day, when the test comes negative, then he gets a 14 days break for the quarantine, because they, even if it is negative, they give 14-day rest. So they are maintaining 14 days work in the hospital and 14 days quarantine at home. So this is a routine practice they are doing for all the healthcare workers, so that they are continuum of care is maintained. Next. So these are actually WhatsApp have given knowledge to everybody regarding the antibody titers. The best combination of testing is RT-PCR, although it will cost little more. And for India, the antibody kit is still is in question. It has not come. So we are at present only going with the RT-PCR. Antibody test at present is not done, but if both the combination are done, that is the best. Next. So this is her own planning, that RT-PCR will tell you whether infective or not, and antibody testing will tell you how your immune system is reacting, or the cytokine response that is having. So mostly initial 6 to 7 days, it takes to take the antibody to rise. So it will be negative in the initial period, but later on it will become positive. So next. So this is a roughly the COVID when the symptoms appear, the how to segregate them and how to make them for the treating purpose. It is not for the triaging purpose. Next. 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 So ultimately, when the immunity takes over and the symptoms they decrease, then ultimately gradually by the day, 12 to 14 days, the person recovers, and around 85 to 90% of them they recover. Only 5 to 10% are the persons who are going to the critical care and later on having the mortality. So there is no need to panic, but for us as a surgeon, how to detect in this period is a big question. So the only answer is to have RT-PCR and then triage your cases. Otherwise, the other aspect is like Korea, Taiwan, they are practicing is everybody is on a full-fledged PPE kit, which is not possible in our country because of lack of the number of kits that is available. Otherwise, you do full PPE kit and don't test and treat everybody. So that can be another solution. But provided the PPE kits are in plenty and healthcare workers getting positive in spite of having a full PPE kit, because some aerosol generating operative procedures is leading to, even in orthopedics, neurosurgery and ophthalmology, causing the healthcare workers to be positive in spite of using the PPE kits. So this is all the only one solution is to
Hello.
have PPE kit and do the surgeries. So with that, we will end today's discussion. We will be very happy to take questions. Myself, Sandeep, and Professor Ko.
Sir, there are some
I think Sandeep,
in the chat.
question for you. Yeah, I'm reading them.
Okay, okay.
Is robotic neck dissection through transoral route possible in the near future?
A transoral route. I don't think
neck
it's
dissection.
robotic neck dissection through transoral route. I don't think I will try it as of now.
Dr. Ko, any chance of having a transoral neck dissection?
Your mic has to be unmuted. Professor Ko, your mic is not, it's muted. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the current robotic system, cannot be used for transoral robotic neck dissection. But someday in future, so if we would get more the fine robotic system, less than 3 millimeter flexible robotic arm should be used to conduct transoral neck dissection, robotic neck dissection. So in our country, with the robotic professor, engineering professor, we are trying to invent much fine robotic system currently. So in future, so we could try the transoral neck dissection. But because during the transoral robotic surgery, when we extirpate the primary tumor, sometimes we could see submandibular gland, entire submandibular gland as well. So when we take out the submandibular gland level 1, so probably we could access the cervical area. So probably it's gonna be possible in future. But I will never try transoral neck dissection. Another young pioneer should try.
So next, another question was that this is from Gopal actually. I think Gopal is in Korea only. So he says that transoral neck dissection might be in future. So Gopal is with Sir only. He's in Korea only.
Okay.
He's from Delhi. He was my resident. He's with Sir only.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. I think Dr. Das has one question.
Yeah, I think many of those questions we were typing and answering at the same time.
Yeah. A same type of question in absence of. So,
me as well as Professor Kaur answered.
This Dr. Sanjeev Prasad is asking that are you using PP in all your cases? Dr. Ko?
Yes. Even during outpatient clinic, we are using the PPE, surgical gown and glove and surgical the
Goggle.
Yeah.
So you're not using that hazmat suit, which is the other type, the full
That
suit.
is in the OT.
Yeah.
No. We do not use. Yeah. Only in the.
Are you using the full-fledged hazmat suit?
No, they are not using. That's what.
So in the OT, you are using the PP3 or PP2 or PP1?
What is the PP? What do you mean?
PP1 is only the gown with N95 and the goggles, and PP2 is with a hood, completely head cover.
No. So in case the tracheostomy or any other surgery in COVID confirmed patient.
Yeah.
In elective surgery, we don't use any hood.
Okay, without hood. Okay, good. So we can get away with that. So many confusions are there. So another question is, if there is a recurrent thyroid cancer, will you be going robotically?
Yeah. So yes, a very selected case we can conduct robotic surgery. So already Dr. Gopal Kumar, he joined our recurrent case operation with robotic system. So, but not common. So very selected and carefully chosen. Not every case.
So, did you find any change in the treatment pattern from the normal, then in the COVID era, in any of the cancers? Head and neck cancers.
Head and neck cancer.
Did you find any difference in treatment? Like you supposed to operate, but you gave chemoradiation.
No.
Did you change your pattern of treatment?
Not yet in Korea. So, but many country in Europe and United States, so they concern the change of practice during Corona era. But in South Korea, we never changed any practice.
Good.
Are you also doing the microvascular flaps now? Because we have, as of now, we are not doing because of the requirement of blood as well as possibility of prolonged ICU stay and all that. As of now, I think most of us in India are not doing any microvascular work.
Yeah, but in South Korea, it's a lot of facility in hospital is quite safe, so we could conduct ordinary pre-prep as well. But as I told you in HENCIG the survey, so very like your question. So you're gonna change your practice from pre-prep to regional prep.
Yes.
So, but many head and neck surgeons in the world answer no. We just wait for the while to conduct the pre-prep, but we not gonna change our practice.
So
from
we can delay the surgery. That is what you mean.
Right. So we just delay operation, but we
So
do not.
maybe giving 1 or 2 cycle of chemotherapy, then you take up the case.
Yes.
Or you just wait and delay.
Yeah, some of my cases are doing that right now. Yeah.
A kind of question would be included in this survey, but half and half. So half of head and neck surgeon will choose induction chemo, 1 or 2 cycle induction chemo or the pre-operative chemo, but the other half, so just to delay the surgery and then careful monitoring. So if there would be any evidence of tumor growth, so we just proceed the surgery.
So any other question, Dr. Sarad, Arnab, Dr. Dharyasil?
My concern, at least from the part of India I live in, is, I really regret that I should have operated on patients 3 weeks back when the situation was much better. What we are facing at the moment, the incidence of corona has really gone up. We are really struggling to handle our patients.
Yeah.
So treatment, and we are not sure how long we can carry on with that because it's becoming really a hot zone in the part of India I'm living in. So I'm sure every zone will have their own problem and they have to modify their protocol accordingly. Otherwise, carry on.
Yeah, in Delhi, what they are following.
Sharad, do you want to wrap up because I think we are running late.
Yeah, I think
Dr. Dharyasil has some point to make.
Rudra, this is exactly what we are saying. Some of our head and neck patients we cannot delay. Now, South Korea is a country which did not stop, did not even have a lockdown. So their picture is different than what we are doing in our country. In our country, we have got a lot of other issues. Yes, we can delay our patients to have 2 courses of chemotherapy, but that anyway we are doing for our locally advanced borderline operable head and neck cancers. The question is, for upfront cancers, most of the time, can you get away with a regional flap? Maybe you could. The question comes of the recurrent cancers.
Correct.
And in the recurrent cancers is where we face a problem. You have already used up a flap, you already don't have anything else, then you need to carefully triage the patient to see that you can, you can then use a microvascular. There is no harm in using a microvascular. Why we are delaying those patients or not delaying, why we are selecting those patients is because we don't want to come in the night again and have a problem, and that time again the whole set and the costing. See, ultimately somebody has to bear the cost. Not all institutions are going to bear the cost. In my institution, the cost of the PPE is going to be borne by the patient. So all those things add up. So I think we don't have any practice changing maneuvers. Our practice changing maneuvers are basically, we are trying to adapt to a system where we try and go and do surgeries which will be faster with probably as less complications as possible, is what I think we should be following. And that's what we already have in our guidelines.
So So to reiterate that, I have posted on Tuesday a free flap for a buccal mucosa RMT.
Yeah, Rudra, I think we'll close down the whole thing now.
Final comments and vote of thanks by Dr. Sarad, our Secretary, Indian Association of Surgical Oncology.
Thank you, Rudra. To all the members, who attended the session, I think first before I say thanks, I must apologize for the initial hitches which have occurred during the presentation. This was our first presentation and probably we may not have been to the highest standard possible. As far as the COVID guidelines, I wish that all of you go and refer to the our website, isoindia.in. That is ISOINDIA. And at the on the homepage itself, we have you can see the guidelines and plus the update which follow to the guidelines. These are the India-specific guidelines, and we encourage you to follow the guidelines. At some places, especially in the bigger cities and well-off patients, I think it is quite pragmatic to go ahead and do the COVID testing, the RT-PCR for all patients before you go and take for elective surgery. But in peripheries where the incidence of corona is quite less or zero, I think you can take a call and take the patients directly. So finally, it is going to be your perspective and your call, and take the decisions according to the situations prevailing in your areas. Please take care and stay home and encourage, try to delay as much as possible. And of course, things are changing, things are improving in many places. So like in my own place, I was a person who initially we stopped doing microvascular, but then my team is very much geared up. So we have started doing microvascular for almost every patient now again. So we have come back and we have, during this period, over the last 2 weeks, we have done about five microvascular surgeries. So again, depends on the team, the whole setup and the mobility of the doctor staff, which is possible in that region. Dr. Ko, I must thank you for sharing all your knowledge and the wealth of knowledge with all the members of the ISO and all the members who attended this session. It was a very informative, and many people were encouraged to take up to robotic thyroidectomies and the robotic surgeries in the near future. So thank you, Dr. Ko.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Ko, for joining us.
Thank you. It's my honor.
I cannot. Unfortunately, Dr. Purnima has left. I wish Dr. Rudra and Rajesh that you can personally thank her on all our behalf. And specifically, I must thank Dr. Rajesh Bhai, Kalpesh Bhai for organizing this wonderful session. And I must thank all my members, my colleagues, the ISO team led by Dr. Arnab Gupta, Dr. Dhairishit Sawant, two stalwarts, mainly Dr. Rudra, for doing a very wonderful job. And I'm very happy with the way session has gone. We hope to do more and more sessions.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hope to see you all again.
So I was a bit disconnected from you all.
Okay. Hope to see you.
I don't see the situation changing very soon and very suddenly dramatically. This is probably going on to take a long time, and we probably hope to have more and more webinars and share more wealth of our knowledge with all of you. So thank you all.
In 15 days time, we will come up with the next webinar, most probably. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
राजेश
सर वो
राजेश
वो चले गए शायद लेफ्ट हो गए
हाँ